Just give me one second. I'm almost done. No, nothing. Just got an interview going on right now. That's fine. Call me whenever. This right here is red flag number 2. Welcome to the channel, Leadership with Mike. On this channel, I help new managers become better leaders and advance their careers with no nonsense sense, if that makes any sense. Today's video, we're talking about the 5 red flags that you need to pick up on when you're going for an interview, when you're trying to get a new job. Listen, sometimes you think that the place that you work is the worst place to work. And sometimes that's true. But other times you have no idea the disaster you're going to walk into. So when you're doing your interview, when you're setting up the interview, make sure that you're paying attention to these 5 red flags. Now, I'm not saying that if one of these flags pop up that you should just excuse yourself out of the interview and I'm out of here, bud. What I'm saying is pay attention. If you've got a couple of these red flags, think about them. See if they are connecting in a way that you're kind of not feeling it. Kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. Kind of feels a little off. That said, flag number 1 is the communication or the lack thereof. So you've set up an interview. That's fantastic. Was the interviewer, was the HR person, whoever's setting it up, are they able to communicate so that you know exactly where you're going? Do you know what time you're supposed to be there? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know? Is it a panel interview? Is it a one-on-one interview? Who is it that you're actually interviewing with? These are all little things where you're like, meh. But remember, if you're going for a company that you are hoping is more professional than the one you're at, or you're going to a company that you assume is a certain level of professionalism, these are all things that must be laid out to you prior to the interview. And if it's not, and if you're kind of trying to gather this information on your own, that's fine, but it's still a red flag. Red flag number 2, you're doing your interview and the person that is interviewing you takes a call. Now, this may seem small in the sense that, you know what, we all have our phones on us. We're all kind of moving and shaking and getting things done. But listen, make sure you understand your time is just as valuable as the person interviewing you. And if they can't set a block of time, whether your interview is 10 minutes or an hour, the expectations that I have is that if I'm interviewing with you or with someone, you've set time to talk with me, to interview me. If you're picking up a call, what you're showing, or what the interviewer is showing, is that the interview isn't a top priority. Which means if they're interviewing you, and at that point you're not the top priority, do you ever think that you will be a priority? Or will you always be pushed on the side? Kind of like, I'll get to you when I get to you. Again, not a deal killer, but something to add to the red flag pile. Red flag number 3, gossip. You're doing your interview and you ask a great interview question. How did the person doing this job succeed? What does success look like? And then the interviewer turns and says, well, if you did it like John, John, he wasn't that good. And, he had a little fling going on with Kathy. And I mean, we had to make a decision, so John's gone. Whoa. That's a little bit of gossip. And then you start getting into more of the office politics and, watch out for this manager because this is all wrong. You are hoping that when you go to a new place, that there's a level of professionalism. And if there's gossip in your interview, you know damn well if you say something a little bit foolish, if you say something that's not quite in line with your interviewer's views, there's a good chance they're already like, oh, should have seen this chooch Mike that I interviewed today. Even if they hire you, you may always wonder if they're able to talk negatively about somebody to you who is a stranger at this point. What do you think they're going to talk about you? Because you're a stranger and they've got relationships. So gossip is one of those things that it can really poison an environment very fast. So this one is a major red flag. Red flag number 4 is, you've done your interview and you're feeling good and there's a good rapport, but now we're talking salary, we're talking compensation, and all of a sudden they're downplaying your experience. They're downplaying what you bring to the table. See, this is another big red flag for me. And when it comes to negotiations for pay or for time off or benefits or whatever we're negotiating in this interview, and all of a sudden now you're downplaying the skills I have, the qualifications I have, the whatever it is that I'm bringing to the table that you do see value in, because if you didn't, you would not be having me sit in the chair. But why is that being downplayed now? So now let's, look further into the future, and we got a big win for the company. Is this manager going to take your thunder? Is he going to take the wind from your sail? These are things that you have to think of, because if at the interview level they're already downplaying your significance, how do you think they're going to build you up as part of the team? How do you think they're going to build you into the company, into the corporate structure? I don't know that they will. Red flag. And red flag number 5 is they ask you illegal questions. This to me is a no-brainer, but sometimes people just don't understand. So you can't ask in most states and most provinces what somebody's sexual preferences are. You can't ask them what their marital status is. You can't ask them their age. You can't ask them their background. And you have to pay attention when you're doing the interview, because sometimes there's like chit chat going on, like small talk. Pay attention, because sometimes, we want to share when we're kind of building that rapport during the interview. But you have to see what they're asking and how they're asking. Are they leading you to saying something that is an illegal question, but they're just kind of baiting you? Again, I'm not saying that these 5 red flags are going to happen at every job interview, and I'm not saying that they happen at most job interviews. What I'm saying is you need to just pay attention, because the reason we move to another job is that we're looking for something. We're looking for something more. We're looking for something better. We're looking for something that just works with our lives in a more positive manner. Whatever it is, you need to be making sure you're interviewing this company as much as they're interviewing you. Remember, you have power. You're sitting at the table because you bring something that they're missing. So keep that. Don't come in there with an attitude and arrogance, because that's also going to work against you. Come in there confidently, knowing that you have something that they want and they have something that you want. So now we've got a discussion and a negotiation between the two. It has to fit for both sides. So that being said, get your coffee, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.